Jack Purcell. Scissor me, daddy ass. Louis Perry, here comes. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell. Faces and Heels Podcast.
Welcome to the Faces and Heels Podcast. Once again, you're used to feeling all the feels on the Faces and Heels with Louis Perry and Jack Purcell, but tonight we've got the Vibe joining us. MSP. Aiden Agro, the Danger Kid, yeah.
What's going on, guys?
Hey.
And good evening from Eric Hunting says, good evening, gentlemen. Who are you calling gentlemen? Jack is no gentleman, Eric. And Jack, I'm very surprised. That was a good intro tonight. I don't have to make fun of you.
I'm sure you will later. I'm going to lose the question that you're going to throw out, which could be a trick question. And so don't worry. There's plenty of time to embarrass me.
I know our guests were kind of late tonight, so we couldn't exactly show off our
throwing us under the rug
format
immediately.
here. So what is going to happen is sometime during the night you're going to hear sound effects throughout the night, and you're going to hear this really weird whistle. When that whistle comes off, that is time for Trivia of the Week, and that's Wrestling Trivia of the Week. That's brought to you by Alternate Universe LLC in Milford and New Haven, and it's an old school classic trivia question. Since you guys are both our guests, you guys get to try and answer that question first, and usually Jack fails, but he is on a winning streak. He is on a winning streak this in the past 2 weeks. He's been getting them right, so we're going to see how you guys fare with that, and we'll see what happens. But right now, it's about you guys, so let's have some fun.
Well, first, we want to really thank you both for being here, because you're helping us carry on a proud tradition of having the best tag teams on here as a guest. So you guys being here is phenomenal. And I got to start off just by saying, and Aiden, I don't, not to leave you out, we're going to get to you right next, but Danger Kid, you were a big inspiration to me during the pandemic. You know, things were tough with wrestling. We didn't get to go to live events. And I always thought of you as the representative of the road, which is one of my favorite things to watch at the time. And I just always remember your intro at the beginning and really enjoyed it. And I think your sincerity and passion really came through, which is something that, you know, I think any artist is able to do, but you do it in a way that just felt effortless. You know, you were just there doing it. And it always made me feel good every week, you know, when I'm like isolated, can't go to my live shows. And when you came on and did that intro for The Road, it kind of brightened up my day.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you saying that. The road tapings, I apologize, guys. I'm leaving class right now. I'm trying to get back home. But
All right on.
yeah, so
I thought you were at my I thought you were at my ex's house. That's
I'm outside
right.
your house, actually.
Oh, come on in.
But yeah, the road tapings, they were really cool. And I mean, cool for me. It was kind of a bummer because this is when Agro was hurt during the pandemic. You know, we were still training and stuff, and he got hurt, and he was on the shelf for a good while. I think like at least 8 months or something crazy.
It was like
that.
6 to 8 months. It was a lot.
Yeah. So like that was right in the midst of the road tapings. You know, pandemic. You know, we're trying to keep some like blood pumping through the veins that is the wrestling scene with Limitless and even just New England wrestling, and putting it all online. I guess really around the world, right? And, you know, I appreciate the kind words. In the ring with wrestling, everything I do, like I try to keep it real. Agro does the same thing. That's always kind of been our mantra as a team and as individuals. Keep it real, and we do everything with passion. If we're not doing it with passion, I don't know why we're doing it. So that's kind of that's always just been how we've carried ourselves. So it's really cool to hear you say that and knows that has shown through and work like The Road and even just the intro, let alone the body work that I had during that time. And that was the other thing about The Road too. Like it allowed me to kind of have some singles matches, which I have a love-hate relationship with singles matches. You know, I've been a tag team wrestler for 8 years. I kind of only want to do that. Like, Aggro's my boy. I kind of want to always be in the ring with him. But I'm really proud of my body of work from the road. And it was kind of cool being able to experiment and be a singles wrestler for a little bit. Definitely not something I'd ever want permanently, but, you know, I made the most of it, and I didn't slow down just because Aggro was hurt.
Right. And there was so much mega talent too. It was just always, you know, you guys are the vibe and talk about the vibe a lot. But to me, that series, that body of work and that period of time had such a unique vibe. And I didn't have IWTV at the time, but I was glued to YouTube, and I was checking out MLW, and I was always watching The Road. But the vibe there, you know, having all the wrestlers sitting spaced throughout the floor, for me, just always created a cool dynamic. You know, you'd hear people talking and you hear them reacting, and you'd see them as the cameraman's going around. There wasn't anything like that I saw anyway at the time. And for you guys, I mean, to be a part of that, I know it wasn't the ideal circumstance. You must still look back and think like that was pretty cool, because the pandemic sucked for a lot of people thoroughly.
Absolutely. Like just being able to do any kind of wrestling during the pandemic was absurd, but fun. Like, I mean, there were a lot of precautions that we had to take just so we could all be in the same room as each other. And like, I remember like one of the first times that we did it, it was just like, oh my God, there's like so many people here, but like we all took the necessary precautions. But like, man, if somebody's gonna get it, like, you know, this is probably the best way to do it. But like, again, everybody was all tested out. Everybody took all the necessary precautions. Like, and we made it work. And looking back on it now, it's like I don't even know what we would have been doing if we didn't have like some sliver of wrestling like to get us through the pandemic. Like, especially like even when we were all having the soft opens and everything, like it was weird being just away from everybody. But no, the road was definitely that little sliver of hope. Like, you know, you're kind of grasping on the heartstrings of what was, and you never knew when we were going to be able to have that again. So being able to actually have the road and being able to do that stuff was exactly what we needed for that time.
I think it's a real testament to the whole roster too. You know what I mean? Like, that wasn't normal circumstances. You know what I mean? We're having 3 matches a day, if not more, let alone, you know, rather than 1. We're not selling merch at those shows. You know what I mean? It was a completely different thing. So we appreciate, you know, y'all seeing our passion and everything, but like, you got to look at everybody that was a part of those productions and keep that same energy all throughout, because like everybody that was there because they wanted to be there. So just got to give a shout out to everybody that participated.
We have 2 comments from Eric Hunting. First, he said the road was must-see television. Second comment was the road is the reason that he has IWTV. I do have a question though, and I just dawned on me. During the pandemic, were you guys still selling merch? I never asked this question of anyone. Because of IWTV and because of the road, did you see a decline in merchandise sales, or did you see still a steady stream of people buying your merch? New fans coming in and seeing you guys on YouTube, seeing you on social media, and watching you guys. Have you seen any difference, or have you seen difference now with the fans coming back to live events?
I think I think those live shows is pretty much everybody's bread and butter when it comes to being able to interact with fans and actually, you know, people like the idea of being able to physically see and touch something and, you know, decide if they want it or not. And when you take that aspect out, it makes it really difficult to even advertise. You know what I mean? Like, we can put it out as much as we want, and if when people don't have that tangible item in front of them, and you know, it's a lot of the times it is the shows, because you know, you're feeling good, you're right into the show, like you just saw one of your favorite wrestlers, like and those are those draws that make people want to get something from you. And
Mhm.
when you take that out again, like there's absolutely a decline, 100%. I think
Okay.
especially during the pandemic, like we may have had a couple online stores active, and we probably saw a steady trickle as far as like sales were concerned. Um, we have our own online store, and we will send our own stuff out, and even that, like it's just hard when you don't really have that human connection beyond a screen, you know.
Okay.
I think people
All right.
look for
Thank
that
you.
too. You know, I mean, people love coming up to us at shows, and we love having people come up to us at shows, at intermission, at the merch table, and like Agro said, that human connection and getting it literally directly. Like either I myself or Agro are the ones handing it over to you, and we are the ones taking your cash. I think people like that direct line. So absolutely, bread and butter is the live shows. Always has
All
been,
right.
always will be.
All
Even
right.
though
Fair
we
enough.
have an online store and I might be packing it up, like it's just not the same, So
All right. Fair enough. Jack, we have a comment by Phil. Would you like to do the honors and read that?
Oh, yes. Phil Locklear. I was on his podcast that I believe is dropping tonight as well. Phil says, I was told this is where wrestling fans watch. Evening, y'all.
And Axel comes in and says, "Hello, all. Hope everyone is doing good. How you doing, brother? Hopefully, I'll see you this weekend. And I do owe you a phone call. Thank you for taking my call tonight. I'll give you a call shortly."
All right.
So, guys, I do have another question. Usually, I use this for the last half hour. What was it like the first time you guys walked through Gorilla and saw a sign with your names on it?
Oh man. Probably hey, they know who we are. I think that's always
Stop smiling.
like that's always how it is. Like anytime we look in the crowd and we see somebody that maybe we didn't interact with recently, or somebody that bought some of our stuff online, and then we see our merch out in the crowd, like that, signs, MSP chants, anything like that in a place where we absolutely would never expect it, is always surprising, because I guess it goes to show the the work that we've put in up to that point has reached somebody, and it's always nice to know that your body of work can reach people far away.
it's really
Okay.
rewarding. Any of that stuff. Like a couple like recent examples. We went down to New South. We went down to Alabama a few months ago for the first time. And to have please come back, MSP chants by the end of our match, that's crazy. You know what I mean? We're just a couple queer kids from Maine doing that down in Alabama, like for the first time. Like that's crazy. Like that is not what we were expecting. You know what I mean? You go down those southern states, Bible Belt, you kind of like have like a pre-notion in your head, like
Preconceived notion
go,
that things
I mean?
could
Like,
go bad.
Yeah.
You hope they don't, but you always have that thought in the back of your mind, like, okay, if things go bad, what do we do?
Yeah, we ain't in Kansas anymore. I mean, like Jossie's black too. You know what I mean? Like this is very real world stuff that we're talking about. And to get that in a place like that, like that's crazy. We got streamers last week or two ago in North Carolina with an MSP chant. Like that's crazy after only our second time there. Just absolutely
That's-
wild. So like that's a
God
testament.
bless
like,
you.
Take that to heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
God bless you. That is amazing. I'm sorry, Jack.
No, don't be sorry. That's friggin' awesome. I mean, it's just cool to see that. I don't know. People are evolving, and it's nice to see wherever we can these days. Phil also says, asks, how much of an energy shift do you feel when you set foot in the squared circle?
Ah, jeez.
It's like flipping a switch for me.
I don't know if I'd call it an energy switch. DK could tell you, like I'm a nervous wreck before we hit the ring, and I guess I there is a shift when you actually get into the ring, because it seems like any worry or stress that I ever have, by the time we're in the ring and we start getting into it, it just evaporates, and I couldn't tell you why, but it happens every time, and then by the end of it, it's like, whew, I feel good. We gonna go again? Let's do it.
It's that adrenaline, dog.
As soon as that adrenaline kicks in, you forget how the fight or flight is very real for me, especially when I'm about to go through the curtain, and as soon as the adrenaline kicks in, it's just gone, and it's the vibe.
All right, before we get to DK's answer on this question, what are the emotions going through you? Is it vomit? Is it pee or hysteria? What is actually going through you? Like, oh my God, I gotta pee. Oh my God, I'm going to throw up. Or, oh my God, what's going to happen? What is going through you?
It's a good mixture of I have to pee and I have to throw up and I want to
leave. Classic. DK, what is your answer to that?
For me, it really is like I just got a fresh, brand new battery right out of the pack, right? Yep. I turn into an absolute animal in the ring. Like, I don't know, I just completely let loose and like kind of black out sometimes. You know what I mean? It's just like the adrenaline of just like performing, the energy of the crowd, just how amped up I am about the match. Because I've been in the back, like kind of like just getting ready for it for 2-3 hours before I'm actually able to do it. So I'm like once it actually comes time, it's like, let's go. Like I'm completely wired. And then I crash super hard afterwards. So that's kind of how it goes for me.
Very true. He's wound for sound in the ring. Like I will try to speak to him sometimes, and he do not speak back. his eyes are just super big, and he's just going, yeah.
I'm like that in class too. Donkey, you attest? I have a student with me. Am I crazy in class? Oh yeah, it's a little crazy in class. I don't know. Being in the ring just does something to me.
I have one more question. Now, again, this is a brand new question, never asked before. Jack has had many tag teams here on the show, but you guys, you're close. And I got to ask, how did you guys decide on what your theme song is? How did you guys decide?
That's custom.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
How did you? All right, even
up money and hired somebody to do it.
All right, that's fine. But you guys, you had to agree on that. How did you agree? I didn't like it. Let's get into the dynamics of that.
Yeah.
How did you guys decide? Because I have business partners other than Jack, and I go through her all the time. What do you think about this? No. And dealing with a woman, that's pretty crazy. Where Jack is like, yeah, I like it, go for it. Okay. So how do you guys deal with that? Because I got to deal with him too, and sometimes that's crazy. So how did you guys come up with something? Because that just, it just popped into my head. Of how did you guys, how did you guys come up with your gear? Oh, well, this is the color. I don't like that color. Let's go with this color. I don't like that. I don't like that beat. Let's go with this beat. How did you guys decide on this, or it immediately came in?
So the music is actually a lot more scientific than you think it is. This is all like off of a formula based off of our old music.
Okay.
So our first song that we used as Main State Posse was Heathens, or it was rather a cover of Heathens by a band called Something You Whisper. And when we found the vibe, we knew that wasn't a song that we would be able to go forward with. It just was going to really clash with our new style. So I used to be a DJ at a skating rink when I was like 16, right? So I knew a lot about like beats per minute in songs and how they flow into other songs, stuff like that. Very, very novice DJ stuff. But so I figured out the beats per minute of our original song, and then when we were looking for a new song, we just matched the BPMs with something that was a little bouncier and a little bit more fun. And so we were able to walk out at the exact same tempo and beat and cadence, if you will, as our previous song. So nothing really changed for us except for the genre of music, honestly.
Okay.
so after we did that, I think the song we picked was "I'm a Bee" by Black Eyed Peas, and so we really enjoyed that song, but we knew we wanted to invest in ourselves a little bit more and go forward with custom music. So we were lucky enough to have a connection with one JD Drake, with a guy that just so happened to write music, and we linked up with him and pretty much told him that we wanted similar beats per minute as a song that we had, and gave him a couple things to go off of, and he probably sent us the first track within like a couple days, I think it was. And yeah, it's all history from there, really. Like,
Okay, I can relate. I could definitely relate. Definitely. Jack, Eric Hunting comes in with another.
Yeah,
actually,
Eric
what did-
Hunting's talkative, and he's all about your theme song. He says MSP theme song is on my Spotify playlist.
it's on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, YouTube.
Phil
any
says,
streaming platform you can think of, our music is available.
Nice.
and Phil says, Baby Shark was already taken. LOL. Please don't drop kick me.
It was a close second. It was a close second. It was probably right in the area where both of my children were listening to that bop at least 100 times a day. So
I can relate. That's awesome.
In general, to kind of wrap up your initial question, me and Agro, like, we're pretty much on the same page about a lot of stuff.
Okay.
But then we also are not afraid to just speak our mind and kind of be blunt with each other, but also respect each other at the same time and what we value and have opinions on. We definitely butt heads. We have over the years. It
I know
happens
that.
more.
I know about that too. With
Yeah.
this gentleman and my other business partner, for sure. I know
Yeah.
all about button heads.
says
Yeah.
we butt
So it's gonna
heads,
happen,
like,
but
from
we
time
just-
to time. We literally butt heads daily. I don't know what he's talking about.
Not necessarily about business decisions, though. That's just life.
It's not. Yeah, that's just it's business and life.
Yeah.
It's fair, right? I mean, it'd be really boring if you guys were clones, if you were identical.
Exactly. Yeah, the vibe wouldn't be what it is, you know?
No, and really, here, I'm sorry, I'm kind of asking my questions out of order because there's a lot of things I wanted to ask you, but
It's all right.
where did you guys come? Because I love the gear, by the way. I mean, I especially really like that bright yellow that you guys have been wearing more recently. And I've seen you guys at a bunch of different promotions and a bunch of different shows, but I really like that. But when you guys have the, oh my God, I'm going to call it the wrong thing. When you guys have the contact lenses in, like the colored contacts, like who came up with that idea and like how did you choose those colors? Because that was a really cool addition to your look.
So we've been messing around with contacts ever since we got started. So it's been multiple years where we've kind of dabbled in it. And back in the day, we kind of saved them for like what we looked at as big shows. So we would usually get like a set that would match our gear, and it would go with this whole theme that we had for whatever show we were on. And as soon as we found the vibe, we, I guess, decided that was something that we wanted to continue doing and do it all the time. And it's kind of become synonymous with us now. So it's like it would be weird if we lost them, And it's the vibe. When you see the color in our eyes, you're seeing the vibe, baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do they ever get knocked out? Is that a silly question?
No, not at all. I think the worst thing that's ever happened is they'll like shift to like the side or behind your eye,
Oh.
and you kind of panic for a few minutes until you can get it out. But
Yeah.
other than
Oh.
that, no, never really
Yeah,
have issues with them.
The first time it went up behind my eyelid, and I couldn't even see it, but I knew it was in there. It was kind of poking out just ever so slightly. Like, I was so freaked out. Like, that stuff's wild. But nah, like, they're usually pretty fine. They just kind
That
of,
literal sense
you
of
just-
somebody's
you really
knocking
know
you
it's right there.
cross-eyed. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Somebody pops you just right. You guys, you're cross-eyed. Contacts behind your eyeball.
But you're looking good cross-eyed with the red and the green or the yellow,
Oh, of course,
whatever the color combination happens to be that night. Eric Hunting's back again saying it's eye-catching, pun intended. Oh, Eric.
I love it.
All right.
All right.
I
Yeah,
love
that's for
Terrible
you,
Puns,
Eric.
so
That. So what is in the future for you for MSP? Where do you guys see
can you take this real
yourselves?
quick, Braj?
Yeah,
Go
I
for
got
it.
it. You know, there's a lot of like exciting stuff. Like nothing like too crazy. Like, oh, you guys just wait and see, and like, you know what I mean? It's gonna be good. Just wait until this thing drops. Like, I'm not really talking about anything specific, but like, you
Mhm.
know, our schedule is looking nice. We're getting to new places like Alabama, North Carolina for Deadlock Pro. Um, and you know, we have a lot of ambitions. You know, I mean, we would love to do a West Coast excursion. We would love to go over and do like a couple weeks over in the UK, kind of get around Europe a bit. We really want to just travel more and get to places that we haven't been. You know, as far as New England goes, I'm sure a lot of people in here are, you know, related to New England wrestling in some fashion. You know, I mean, Jack, we know you from Blitzkrieg and everything. When it comes to New England wrestling, New England's always going to be home, but like, dude, we've done it all. Like, what more can we do? Like, yeah, it's true. There's definitely some stuff here and there. And like, you know, maybe we will check off some more New England boxes down the road. But like, in the grand scheme of things, we're not going to grow anymore by just staying in New England. And that's kind of always been our mentality. Originally, it was we're not going to get any better by just staying in Maine. So let's take over New England. And now we're trying to get out of New England and kind of do that and like even breaking more international barriers. You know what I mean? We've done Canada a bunch over the last couple of years and we love it there. Worked for a couple of promotions up there. We want to work for more. But like I said, you know, Europe, let's do it. We pretty much just want to go everywhere. Um, yeah, and ultimately, we both really would love to sign a contract somewhere. That's kind of like the number one right now. Where specifically, you know, I'm not sure. That's a whole different conversation. But in general, that is our goal. I feel like we are a pretty well-rounded team. There's obviously things that can be improved upon, um, but I think that like we would fit that mold kind of pretty well, and that's the ambition that we both have. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think every artist wants the biggest audience possible. I mean, you find people who will be like, "Oh yeah, I just want my punk rock vibe," but like ultimately, you want the biggest audience you can get to see your work. I mean, you guys obviously have put a lot of years of hard work into this. How would you say that your match with Private Party with AEW helped you? I mean, did you see that maybe there was more recognition? Because that was an awesome match and you guys looked super cool. That was a great match. I'd love to see it again in any promotion. It doesn't have to be AEW. But did you find that there was like a maybe there were more phone calls after that? Did more people recognize you? Like you're getting booked, like you said, in Texas. I know Wisconsin. You guys have been in Canada. Did that change anything for you?
There was definitely that aspect of we would just meet random people at shows and they'd be like, "Oh, this is our first show, like independent show ever. We saw you guys on AEW. You guys are awesome." And it's just like the fact that some people don't get into, like, not all people get into wrestling the same way, and sometimes it's just flipping through the channels and you never know what you're gonna catch, and the next thing you know, you're at an indie show, cheering, hanging out with your friends. Like, it's definitely really cool. Like, I really enjoyed that match. We've been able to do that dance with Private Party so many times, and who better to do it with on that level? But big appreciation for those guys. Big
Big
appreciation to
time.
AEW.
Yeah.
Like, we received a lot of positive feedback from the match. Like, it's something that we would love to do again, whenever.
And
But
I also think too, like the one big takeaway that like I think we both kind of had from that was, you know, obviously like, you know, going into that, you know, 10,000 seat arena, whatever, I don't know how many people were actually there, but you know, somewhere in that ballpark. And like, obviously we
I
had
think
never
it
been
was
in
like
front of a crowd.
13,000. So
Yeah. You know what I mean? A wild
it
number,
was
a
really, it was
truly
like one of the biggest
staggering
crowds I've
amount.
ever wrestled in front of. So I kind of remember.
Yeah. No, good for you. But like, you know, going into it, we were shitting bricks a little bit. But like the biggest takeaway is like once we got out there and that bell rang, we were fine. It
It
felt
was
like just
weird. It
another
was very
show.
weird how fine we were because it was again that nerve-wracking feeling that I referenced earlier. It was all that, but once we were in the ring, it was the same thing as when we get into any ring. Just and we showed up to do what we do.
Yep. And again, those private party guys, like they gave us a lot. You know what I mean? And like, not every talent that gets on Dark gets to shine in a way that we did. So like, we are forever grateful for them and AEW for the opportunity. You know what I mean? After that match, we were in the locker room and I gave Aggro a hug and I was like, if it never happens again, no one can ever take that away from us, what just happened. And we had a little moment, and like we want more of that for sure. But no matter what, we had that one moment, and it was I'll never forget it ever.
It really gave that perspective that we can do this. We feel confident in performing at this level, and we want more.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny that Aggro, that you talked about being nervous, because like all the times I've seen both of you live, I would use a lot of words to describe you, and nervous wouldn't be one of them. You seem like just very smooth and calm, and like it's another day at the office. So
he's panicking on the inside.
That's all internal panic.
That's why he's the calmer one of the two.
Before we get to Phil's question, anyone come up to you, offer you any advice while you were backstage at AEW? Anyone say, come up to you, wow, guys, I seen your match. You were fantastic. Anyone come up to you, say anything?
Yes. And
we definitely had some.
There was a handful, yes. And I can't remember.
We had a good conversation with Andy Williams from Butcher and the Blade, who's somebody that we have been able to befriend anyways from when him and Pepper were on the indie scene before they got signed. We were a big fan of his band, Every Time I Die, before they broke up and before we even got into wrestling. So like, that's a guy we've been able to connect with. And, he gave us a really good conversation after that match. And just a lot of just kind of, it was kind of a little fleeting, you know what I mean? It was kind of like here and there, kind of in passing, like, oh, really good stuff, guys. Nothing too like in depth. And I think it's why Aggro is kind of struggling to remember specific names, but like, because that was overwhelming too, you know what I mean? Just being backstage, you know what I mean? It's like you're just standing there kind of in that central hub backstage, and it's like, okay, Sting is over there in full get up. Mark Henry just walked by, and he just crossed with Chris Jericho, who also just walked by, and William Regal's over there.
All your childhood heroes are just in this room, and like you are trying to just stay cool and not freak out. And like it's really hard, and the best thing to do is just kind of keep to yourself and watch the monitors.
Yeah, and try to not do the wrong thing or say the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Because it's like you're walking on eggshells because it's such a legit production, and you're just trying to be professional and like leave a good impression and everything. You want to come back, and so it's a lot.
That's where I was going with this. So like, someone came over, hey kid, you did really good with that. Thank you very much. That's where I was going with this. We have another question, Jack, from Phil.
Phil asks, who would be each of your Grail wrestler or wrestlers to work with in your career?
Well, I think it goes without saying the Hardys. They're pretty much A1 when it comes to who we could work with, past, present, future. What do you think, Praj?
That was my answer. That's my answer. That's my answer. Yeah.
Well, honestly, if I get it out first, and now I don't have to come up with one.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would love to just mix it up with all those Attitude Era tag teams that I watched growing up. Dudley's, Edge and Christian, Too Cool, the fucking Acolytes, it's all of them. You know what I mean? I would love that. Just sign me up. That would be really neat. But yeah, and then as far as like singles, I don't know if that was a caveat to the question or not, but I would love a match with like Shawn Michaels in his prime. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like that ultimate workhorse. I always loved Shawn. There's a lot though. I could go down a list forever, as I'm sure Aggro could. So
I'd love to see you guys against FTR.
Whoa! It is time. It's time for Old School Trivia, brought to you by Alternate Universe LLC, Milford and New Haven. Make sure you stop down there and see Eric and the guys. Are you guys ready for Old School Trivia? Are you guys ready?
I'm afraid of looking like a complete ass if I'm
I will too.
I'm bad at trivia.
I'm gonna take care of that. That's my role.
All right, cool.
It's gonna happen, but I'm
Gonna
diving
get
in.
that out of the way.
All right. So this week's question: who was the first masked champion in the WWF/WWE? Who was the first masked WWF/WWE champion?
Oh man.
Kane, Mankind, the Masked Superstar, or the Ultimate Warrior? Who was?
Okay, I mean, Ultimate Warrior is face paint though.
Yeah, exactly. He's
Yeah, I
out.
feel like that. I feel
Are we
like
throwing
that's a trick
tricks out here? What are we doing? What is this?
Who was the first masked champion?
Okay.
Was the Masked Superstar ever actually a champion? I mean, we all know, especially
Yeah, I don't
by
think
this
so.
I was
clever
gonna
black
say
and
no.
white.
I think we're
I
throwing
would go-
tricks out.
I-
We're
I would
we're
go with
getting getting a lot of answers
I'm-
here from our.
Yeah, I'm leaning Mankind. I'm pretty sure, but I know that Mankind and Kane had reigns around the same time, so I can't remember who came first, but I'm leaning Mankind myself.
Okay, Ag.
Oh Jesus! I'm gonna go with Warriors face paint. That's face paint. It's not a mask. I'm going with
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm going with Kane.
That's some tomfoolery.
You're going with Kane. All right, Jack. Who you going with?
Oh man. Oh, I mean, I know it's between Kane and Mankind, but I'm struggling here. I'm sweating like Nixon. Oh, geez. Kane. I'm going with Kane.
And it is.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
Yes, the Ultimate Warrior was face paint, but if it was just a face covering, the Warrior would have been first.
See, I knew it. I said
Yes.
Warrior first, but then I was like, no, it's face paint. That's a trick question.
And the Masked Superstar was never a world champion, but later on in life he did become tag team champion as a part of Demolition. And the Masked Superstar was originally known as using Shake, Rattle, and Roll as a swinging net breaker when he almost put Bob Backlund out of business. Thank you guys for playing. Jack, 3 for 3. I'm so happy.
This is wild.
Wow.
I can't believe it.
I know.
Jack, what
I know.
happened, man? You said you were going to take the fall on that one. I
know. And Eric Hunting, our super Eric, comes in and says, Mankind, Eric, you've been failing me for the past couple of weeks. I'm so sorry.
Eric and I have
Axel,
switched.
I know, you both have, and Axel stepped up to the plate, and he too said Mankind, and I'm so sorry about that, Axel. You too failed.
Jack,
No one else.
wrong.
I'm sorry.
No one else
brother.
wants to play this week. Tune in next week for a whole brand new question of old school trivia, brought to you by Alternate Universe LLC. Remember, every Wednesday is New Comic Book Day. Make sure you stop in and see Eric and the guys, and I will be there this Saturday before I go to Blood, Sweat, and Tears Wrestling, so make sure you stop in and see the Angry Geek Show. Me and Emily will be there. Jamie can't make it, but make sure you stop in, say hi to us before we head over to Blood, Sweat, and Tears Wrestling this Saturday. Jack, continue on with your questions.
All right. So
and
here's
Phil, hold on.
Phil, Jack failed to take the bump for the guess. LOL. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got to make that.
I'll remember that, man.
I'm
remember
sorry. Oh. All right. I'm hopefully not going to get put through a table at the next show I see you at. So here's a
I can
question
arrange
had.
it.
Okay. So this is something that I don't know if you've ever heard from other fans, but I've gotten to see you guys live at a few different promotions, all in the Northeast. But here's something odd, and I don't know. Again, I always think it's interesting because you guys especially have been all over the place. You know, you're not a Northeast tag team; you're everywhere. And when I've seen you,
Appreciate that, Jack. Really appreciate you saying that.
But here's the thing: bringing you back to New England, for whatever reason, every time that I've seen you at Pro Wrestling Grind, including the very first show that you guys were in the main event against Main Event, have been my favorite matches I've ever seen you guys in. Like with Brick City Boys is one of the others that comes to mind right now. And I'm just wondering, like, we talk about the vibe. Does that affect you? Is there a vibe at different promotions where it affects your performance at all? Because Pro Wrestling Grind, like when I go to those shows as a fan, it feels different. It feels unique. You don't feel like you're not sure what promotion you're at, but does that affect you guys at all? I don't know if that's a weird thing, but I've seen you at a bunch of Blitzkrieg, that, and a few other New England promotions, but Northeast Wrestling. But do any of the environments affect your performance at all?
I think naturally you're going to get a little bit of that. You know what I mean? You're going to, let's face it, performing in front of 30 people versus 300 people is a little different for us, right? But by that same merit, when you get the vibe, you're getting the vibe every time. No matter where we are, no matter what state, what the crowd looks like we're going to be us. We're going to do what we do, and we're going to do it well, and that's just it. New England, outside of New England, it doesn't matter. We try to have that consistency. And I think with your point, Jack, us having that kind of, you enjoying our matches at Blitz and Grind and whatnot, I think it's seeing us in person is a lot different. We're not, GIF wrestlers. You know what I mean? That's not us. You need to see us in person. That is really the only way. Cause I feel like GIFs and even just videos of our matches, doesn't fully do it justice. You need to really be in the same room with us and feel what we're feeling, and that's the full effect of the vibe.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel what you're saying, because I remember watching you guys in a match against the Haven, and by the way, awesome Haven sweatshirt, and it was incredible. It was awesome, but I'll never forget what it felt like to be at that first Grind show when you guys main evented. The crowd was going ape shit, and it was an awesome match. But speaking of Blitzkrieg, though, having said that, I want to see another match of the Brick City Boys, if at all possible. But it seems to me that you guys might be looking for a rematch against Miracle Generation at Blitzkrieg, because you guys were the champions for almost a year at Blitzkrieg.
Yeah, and Jack, it's one of those things where we wrestled Miracle Generation for the better part of that year. Leading up to us losing the tag titles to them, and it was one of those things where we had their number all year, and they could not figure out the working formula to beat us, and they finally got the W over us, and where that's nothing that we're ashamed of or upset about. We've wrestled them so many times. We can only have so many tricks up our sleeve when you wrestle the same people for a year, and eventually they're going to figure out the working formula, and they did. And congratulations to them, but they're here for a good time, not a long time, as Blitzkrieg tag champs.
Well, to be fair, also, part of what I was going to say, I'm sorry I don't remember the exact match, but it took two other teams as well. It wasn't like that was one of your one-on-one matches, because you had defeated them, I think, a couple of times at Blitzkrieg, like you said, prior to that match. But I think that was like a fatal four-way, wasn't it?
It sure was, and a ladder match to boot.
Oh, right. So maybe they did, maybe they
we were
didn't.
never pinned.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, for me, that's why it's so crucial to see that rematch, because prior to that, you guys got the W's, and then there was a different circumstance in which you lost the belt. So I'm hoping that we're going to be seeing that in 2023.
I think it's safe to say that
I think
match,
the odds of that are pretty good.
Will definitely happen.
Good.
If not a couple times.
Nice.
That'll
be
if
fantastic.
We beat them, they're going to want their titles back, right?
They can want it back.
Just keep flip-flopping for the next year.
So what's on the horizon? Again, I don't know how you guys look at it in terms, or how much you want to say, but I don't know how you look at it, if you have a goal for each year, or if there's just sort of a general goal. But I'm just going to say this from a fan perspective, because I have the chance to talk to you both. I would love to see you guys in Ring of Honor. To me, you'd blow the roof off that place. And I don't know if that's something that, I don't know how much wrestling you watch, if you watch WWE or AEW Ring of Honor, but could you talk about like any goals you might have, if any, for this particular year?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's just to keep grinding, stay busy, because it's really easy to have those lulls where it feels like there isn't really a lot going on, and motivation can be really fleeting. So it's just important. I preach consistency a lot in class with our students, and we hold ourselves to that same standard. I mean, consistency really is key, and you have to make sure that you are here, there, and everywhere and back again to make sure that you are staying consistent and you are maintaining those positive connections. We want to be on the road as much as humanly possible. We are fortunate enough to be flying to a few places that are, a lot harder to drive to. So it affords us the opportunity to get to those places that otherwise would really take a lot out of our home lives and work lives. But I mean, I think again to circle back to the overall goal of eventually signing a contract. I mean, just maybe seeing us pop up at X, Y, or Z promotion. I think that's really our overall goal, is to get to new places and stay in those new places, become core roster members of those new places. And I think every time that we do that, it kind of reaffirms that we are in the right place and we're doing everything that we can to, again, stay consistent.
I certainly hope so. You guys are a joy to speak with, and I mean, most of the times I'm a goofball and I jump in and do a lot of stuff, and other times I just sit down and listen. And you guys fall into that category where I'm just sitting down and like just listening, and new questions are coming to mind, and you guys are just like awesome to sit here. Our guest last week was the same way, just captivating, sitting here, intelligent conversation where I'm not, I mean, look at my name for Christ's sake. I'm just sitting here, just enjoying the conversation tonight. And I appreciate that. And I thank you both for this. And Jack will tell you, usually I'm just sitting here cracking jokes, hitting the sound, hitting the soundboard. But tonight, totally different. You guys are just friggin' amazing. And I personally want to thank you for being on the show for Jack. Just that's all I got to say. Jack, continue. Go before I start to break down.
Okay. So I guess I also kind of wonder what it's like, because we also talk a lot about the parallels between the worlds of professional wrestling and like the comic book industry. There's a lot of that. And I feel like IWTV is almost like the equivalent of digital comics in some way, where you could reach this audience that might not normally be tuned in to another avenue. Have you guys found IWTV to be something that's been maybe helped you get booked in some of these other places, or like what has that done for you? Has it done anything for you that you're aware of?
I think it definitely gets more eyes on us, as opposed, like, because not everywhere we're trying to get is always on our radar, if that makes sense. Like, just because we don't know about a certain promotion, a company, it doesn't mean that we wouldn't love to be there. And a lot of times we will get an email from somebody that says, "Hey, I saw your guys' stuff from IWTV, and I really, really enjoy what you're doing." And it's just really cool that there is a platform for independent wrestling that exists to afford those opportunities to not only us, but everybody that is featured on IWTV.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's how we got into Canada. I think we got
that's how we got to Canada.
C4. Yeah, because of our body of work at Limitless and it being available on IWTV. I think that directly has impacted our international status. And we've been back up there a ton of times. We've also worked for like Smash Wrestling up there. So like, I'm pretty sure that's a direct connection that you can make thanks to streaming and how available our body of work is. It's really cool. And then fan base wise too, like we've met a ton of people and people talking to us on Twitter and stuff, like tagging us and stuff. It definitely plays a factor for sure. So that's why, like, it's important to be on shows like that are, investing in their own products, in the same way that we invest in ourselves. We want to be on those shows that are streaming live, or at least get the shows getting recorded, chopped up, and thrown online so that people can actually see it. If there's no cameras at the show, we'll still do our thing and have fun, but like it's definitely a lot nicer for us when there's cameras rolling, and lenses to look at, especially
We're
when
better
we're
in front of
driving.
cameras anyway.
Yeah.
Do you find you guys you amp up your personalities while the camera is rolling, opposed to the camera not rolling?
I think so, but I also can say no too, because I think there's a lot of our personality that cameras don't see. That it's not even that it's inappropriate, but sometimes we are egregiously over the top, and you wouldn't recognize us even if we were in front of a camera as DK and Aggro. Sometimes not enough of our personality shows through, and sometimes that's a good thing.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, some would agree. Some would agree. I personally wouldn't agree, but some would agree. Some would agree. Yes, for sure.
So here's a question, because I mean, you guys are obviously loaded with personality, and I wonder, are there any other art forms or hobbies that fuel your creativity when you're not watching wrestling or you're not training? Like, what is it that you do that you're passionate about outside of pro wrestling?
Oh man. I mean, I love video games. I mean, that's more of
Ooh.
that's more of an escape for me. But I
Same.
both of us, we both play a lot of video games.
What's your what is your system?
I play. We're both Xbox actually.
Yeah,
He's got a couple other systems, but we're like primarily Xbox users.
yeah.
Do you have a
I got
favorite
PS4
game?
as well, but
Nice. Do you guys have a favorite
PS4.
game?
Okay, whatever.
Oh, geez. As far as Xbox titles, I mean,
I've been getting
you
back
got-
into Fortnite lately.
I love Fortnite.
Strictly no build.
No, come
Strictly
on.
no build.
No builds the
But
only
also
way.
like other games like that. Yeah. Like
Nice.
Apex Legends is another like battle royale game I really like.
Yeah.
Rocket League, MLB The Show 23 just came out, so like I'm jamming that a lot right now. Yeah, I'm really excited for Skate Skate 4. It's not actually Skate 4, but
Skate
the
4.
fourth installment
It's
of the
not
Skate.
Skate 4, but it is Skate 4.
Yeah. So when that
I
comes
think
out,
that's definitely one of probably our top 5 games between the both of us. We can agree. That's
Let's go.
probably a
I'm so
top 5
excited.
game. Skate. I'm more of a sandbox RPG. Let's go spend 10 hours building something kind of player. I used to be into the fast-paced, like first-person shooters, like Call of Duty, Halo, all that stuff, and I am just getting older, and I'm not that good at those things anymore. I think it's just I think the younger kids are just way better now, so I just can't keep up. So I'll play my RPG games and go build things.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
And then-
I got a 16-year-old son who makes me look totally incompetent, so I feel that.
That's awesome. I mean, other than that, I mean, just like I don't know. It's wrestling does obviously give us a lot of inspiration. Me personally, I really am into like drag, so I watch a lot of like Drag Race and stuff like that. And actually, like I'm gonna start doing that this year, in a couple months actually. So that's kind of like a new avenue for me.
Oh, right on.
June, baby.
And
June,
just, like,
baby.
Yeah, kind of crazy. June 2nd,
Big
making
debut.
my drag debut. Kind of
Wow.
wild.
Nice.
Crazy stuff, really. But I mean, I just kind of take like inspiration from everywhere. Like I love that shit. Like music, just music really just speaks to me. Always has, and same with aggro for sure. You should hear us bumping on the road, honestly. So like, we get a lot of inspiration from a lot of places outside of just wrestling. And then even people too. You know what I mean? Like the people that like share their stories with us and that we make connections with. The lifelong friendships. You know what I mean? We recently lost someone pretty close to us. Her name's Jess. She was a Limitless fan, and we met her back in the Westbrook Armory days through Limitless. A lot of people might know her from Twitter.
She was just a fan.
Yeah, she was WrestleBrook on Twitter. And then she kind of got into photography, and that literally started like taking pictures from her seat in the front row, right? And so those pictures were like just kind of same angle, same point of view, just kind of whatever, you know what I mean? But then eventually, moving up to ringside, you know what I mean? And then as she's battled cancer for a long time, so eventually that kind of got hard on her. So then she kind of pivoted, and now all of a sudden she's investing in lights and backdrops and doing portraits in the back, and then she started kind of branching off to like candids and stuff. It sucks. I'm not trying to bring the vibe of the show down, but she lost her battle recently, and that first Limitless show, after that happens, I feel that was one of our best matches we ever had. I was on another completely another level, and like I'm already like that anyways, but I was just like, it was for her. You know what I mean? Like I love that girl. Aggro loved that girl. Anybody that was a member of the Limitless family loved that girl because she loved Limitless and everyone in it that much. And like the promo that we cut after, giving her a shout out, like I again kind of blacked out. Like Aggro had to tell me to be like, hey, like wrap it up. We're live on IWTV right now. Like it was like I was just going. I
felt bad, but I'm like, okay, we're still in a segment and we're live.
Yeah, but that's accurate. But like it's that passion, you know what I mean? It's just completely driving everything, and like so we get inspiration anywhere we can get it from, because life is beautiful. This world is absolutely crazy, but life is beautiful, and we see that beauty in a lot of different things.
And the world you're in is loaded with it. I mean, the fact that we've been doing this for 3 years, the people we've met who've been so cool, like yourselves and like Rip and Delmy and Jeremy. There's just so many people we've met who are like, oh my God, like these people are amazing. And the fact that pro wrestling has allowed us the luxury to get to know people in this world has been amazing.
I would agree, Jack. This has been going on for 3 years. That means I've been behind the mic in front of a camera for almost 11. This is crazy. Wow. I've been acting like a monkey for almost 11 years. And
the gray hair.
Yes, I know. I dye it this way, man. Remember my hair was pink like DK's at one time and purple. That's just insane. And now that what you're saying, I mean, I met you through this, and now I'm meeting amazing people as DK and Aggro. I all the amazing people over the years that I met. I mean, it is life does bring you in strange ways, because I've met people that I never thought I would meet. Like Jack himself, I've seen his name in every comics that I picked up, Batman, Green Lantern, pick him up. Oh, Jack Purcell. Then boom, I meet him. Now I work with him every week. I call him. Other people in the comic book industry, I always see their names now. I can call them on my cell phone. Actors as well, just in the Star Wars family, I can call them. It's life. If you put it out to the universe, the life will give it to you. The universe will give it to you, and life can be a beautiful thing, very rewarding if you put it out there. You'll be surprised on what the universe and life will give you if you put it out there and if you allow it. Karma is powerful. That's all I got to say, and I'm grateful for everything.
Well said. Well said. Well said. So we're running out of time. I wanted to quickly ask you guys if you have a minute before you leave us. Just wanted to say a quick goodbye to you after we sign off. But we want to thank you so much for being here, and also make sure we give you the chance to tell our listeners and viewers where can they find you in the near future, if there's any dates you can talk about, and where can they buy your merch if they're not seeing you in person.
All right. You want to go first, Brad? Where are we going? Where are we going to be? Where can you buy our stuff?
He's dancing. Say something. No.
Oh, I think he's muted.
What? Did you mute yourself?
I was muted. I'm so sorry. I muted myself when I was filling up my water bottle. That was okay.
Wow.
Okay, so what day is it even today. Where are we at?
4th,
We have nothing
6th.
this weekend.
It's April the 6th.
So
of
next
2023.
weekend, Saturday we'll be in Beverly, Mass for Proving Ground Wrestling. Tag title match?
Tag title match, Dirt City Murder Crew, I believe.
I think so. I think that's the
Yes.
that's the sitch.
Yes.
And then the next night, we're making our way down to Ridgefield Park, New Jersey, and we are going to be on Deadlock Pro Wrestling's New Jersey debut. They've been North Carolina Central based, but they are starting to expand, and they're making their way up to Jersey, and we're going to be on that show. And we have a 2-on-2 match with Above the Rest, so it's going to be some hotness. I can say that for sure. And Deadlock Pro shows are always super cool, so definitely looking forward to that. April 22nd, Limitless Wrestling in Herman, Maine. That's going to be exciting. Limitless Wrestling in Maine. That's going to be very good. I don't think what we're doing has been announced on that one yet. Let me think. I don't think anything the weekend after. And then I believe May 6th is Let's Wrestle in Brewer, Maine. So Limitless's little sister company. I'm surprised I've gotten this far without looking at it, just trying to rattle them off the top of my head because I'm normally just like scatterbrained. I don't know what's
Good
going
for
on.
you. You're doing so well.
Thank you. I'm so pretty. Yeah, and then as far as like, where to find us online, like my tags are at I am the Danger Kid. His are at He's Aggro, and then the team accounts I think are all at MSP is the Vibe. Is that right? Am I remembering that correctly?
I think it's MSP The Vibe. I could be wrong. Just
find
look up
it.
both. You'll find us.
And then if you find our personal page, you'll find the team page connected. You know what I mean? Like, it's all out there. Hey, y'all know how to use the internet.
Yeah, right. You guys are
Come
savvy.
on, we're not dumb. We're not dumb here. If you like what
Jack,
we're doing,
please
go find us. Type of
Yeah,
search bar.
Jack, please tell everyone where they can find some one-of-a-kind art that you draw.
Yeah, if you're at the Blood, Sweat, and Tears show on Saturday in New Haven, Connecticut on April 8th, I will be there with this slug, and I've got 3 trading cards I'm debuting, so that's going to be cool. If you're into that sort of thing, you can find me at Jack Purcell Inc. INK, just like that little green icon there on Instagram and Facebook, and you can hit me up if you're looking for commissions, that sort of thing, a one-of-a-kind deal. I am always available for that. And then we got Louis Perry is everywhere.
Yes, I am. I will be at Blood, Sweat, and Tears this Saturday night with Jack Purcell, where it's going to be the Angry Geeks versus Faces and Heels podcast. My show versus his show. My wrestler versus his wrestler. My sidekick, Quinderella. She's going to be with me as we face down that guy. And I'm not telling him who my wrestler is, but he will be coming out of Gorilla and facing this guy's wrestler for sure. But you can find me with my sister from another mister, that Wonder Woman, Jamie Dolan, at theangrygeekshow.com every Monday night. So check this trailer out, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday at a regular time. And you'll see me every Monday night with my sister from another mister and our sidekick. You have been watching The Angry Geek Show on Pod TV. Visit our website today. And for guest bookings, email us at theangrygeekshow@gmail.com today.